Welcome to a brand new episode of your favorite podcast, Soulfully Thorvi, with your host, Thorvi. Words can inspire and words can destroy. Choose wisely. This quote by Robin Sharma is really apt for what we're going to discuss today. The power of words and sound on our bodies and our minds. Almost all of the world's thinkers, philosophers, and gurus have told us that words have power and to use words wisely. Yet, we humans have seldom given them due importance. Every religion and belief system in some shape or form has advised us to be cautious of what we speak, especially when we are angry or extremely happy. In the Bible, the Gospel of John begins with the following verse. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The power of sound and vibrations is what gave birth to our universe. In Hinduism, the Onkar Nad is said to be the absolute truth. The effect of sound and words can even be seen on water molecules and plants. The structure of water molecules as crystals changes as per the sound they are exposed to. Dr. Emoto, a Japanese scientist, has done research on water samples exposed to different words and emotions, and he was shocked to find that when kind and positive words or soft music was played, the crystals formed beautifully. But when unkind words or distorted music was played, the crystals had malformed and were almost shapeless. We are here walking around with more than 70% of water in our body, and yet we claim it's just words. Words don't affect us. Seriously, it is time we took a long, hard look at the way we are conducting ourselves as civilized members of the society. I would urge you to go onto YouTube and go through the videos on these water molecule research by Dr. Masaru Emoto. All religions also have special prayers before every meal, and it is customary to bless the food or offer it to God before consuming it. Have you ever thought why this exists? Most of the time, we reject these as mere rituals. But more and more research is coming out to prove that water has memory. Water stores the feelings, the emotions, the intentions, and that affects the food that we consume and the water that we drink. Sadhguru also has spoken of the importance of blessing the water we drink and that it carries the energies and intentions of those who hold it. The other thing I noticed is that religious leaders and spiritual practitioners usually refrain from eating outside at anyone's house. I believe they become sensitive to energies and they need to protect themselves from any negative influence, even an out of balance thought of one's cooking and serving the food. We Indians all have a special sentiment that the food cooked by a mother is always tastier, and it does taste better than any chef. Even if you prepare the food with the exact same recipe, it does not taste the same, because the two main ingredients of care and love cannot be replaced. Even recipes cooked with different water sources taste different. That's why they say that a certain street food is only really tastier in that particular city. Even if you try to remake it in some other city, the water changes and the taste is not really the same anymore. I'm sharing all of this to remind us again that we are more than 70% water, and words spoken and heard have an effect on us whether we notice or not, whether we want to admit it or not. I was discussing with a few friends hailing from various spheres of society, and we all seem to agree that despite being educated, so many people are extremely verbally abusive, especially behind closed doors and towards family members. They justify it by saying they cannot control what they say when they are angry. A convenient excuse, isn't it? They always expect the victims to forgive and forget because these are mere words. But the wounds they leave behind are deep, and they do not realize that words once spoken remain as energy in the universe. One cannot just forget. They affect the person who spoke them as much as the person they are spoken to. Since the damage is not instant, like it is with a weapon, it is a bit difficult to wrap our heads around it, and that is understandable, but we need to start having conversations around this topic more often. It is not just about being nice and being civilized, it is much more beyond that. This topic of the power of words, I understand it's a little multifaceted. So I'm going to break it down and share examples. Please bear with me. It will all tie up in the end, I promise. Let me start as usual with a story from our Indian epic Ramayana. Lord Rama accepted exile for 14 years because his father had promised his stepmother 2 boons, and she asked for Lord Rama's exile and the second one for her biological son Bharata to be made the king. Shortly after Lord Rama accepted this exile and left for the forest with his wife, goddess Sita, and his younger brother Lakshmana, his father passed away out of heartbreak. His father felt guilty for having given those boons and could not bear being separated from his beloved son. His stepbrother Bharata was extremely devoted to Lord Rama, and this decision of exile was taken when he was not in the city. He was shocked once he came back. He had never wanted the kingdom. All he wanted was to serve his elder brother. He was extremely angry at his mother, and soon she too realized her mistake. Her anger at her husband had caused her a split in her own family. The entire kingdom went into mourning. Once they got to know that Bharata wanted to bring Lord Rama back from exile, they decided to join him. Everyone wanted Lord Rama to take over a kingdom that was rightfully his. They tracked him down in the forest of Chitrakoot and went to him to convince him to come back. They laid out an argument that since his father, who had given the boons, was now dead, there was no need to fulfill them. His stepmother said she did not even want those 2 boons anymore, and she would take them back, and he should come back and become the rightful king. Lord Rama, he listened to all the arguments, but he refused to go back. He said he will only return after the 14 years of exile are over. Not because he was too proud, not because he wanted to torture his stepmother emotionally, but because he wanted us to learn the lesson of the power of words and promises. He said, words once spoken remain in this universe. They resound even after the person is no more. They continue to hold power. If he goes back now, the words of his father will be disrespected, and Dharma states that he must complete his father's promises. Think about this for a few minutes. It may seem like a drastic move to prove a point, and yes, it is exactly that. The severity of his decision was to engrave in the minds of people to take their words seriously. This is a great lesson for us to understand the consequences of what we say. His father gave those 2 boons to his stepmother in a happy and extremely emotional state of mind. She had just saved his life in a war. His stepmother, who loved Lord Rama more than her own son, used those 2 boons when she was extremely angry at her husband. The consequence is their son had to live in exile and the entire family went into mourning. You may feel that you are not someone as important, so your words may not carry that much power, but you are wrong. It is not you who has the power. Words themselves have power, whether a person is great or small, young or old, pious or a thief. Wise men speak less, but when they do, their energy is so strong that people listen. Even after these wise men pass on, through their books and their quotes, the power of their words linger among us. Many spiritual practices give importance to the practice of silence. The 10-day Vipassana meditation camp is solely based on silencing the self and going within, and people have reported remarkable changes in themselves. In India, we do a silent fast called Maunrat, where you decide not to speak to anyone for a day or more. If we are always angry and always shouting at the people around us, whether at work or at home, when we just do not know how to shut up, it depletes our soul power and harms those around us. We must express ourselves, but learn to do it with grace and poise, especially in anger, when you want to be stern and get your message across. I remember watching a Hindi movie. One of the scenes depicted this so well. Let me just explain that for you. So there's this orphanage run by a respected retired old man. One day, a rich and educated couple comes to the orphanage to adopt a child. They look at all the children queued up and they happen to like one. But as they get to know the child a bit more and understand that the child has some medical issues, they reject the child And in doing that, they end up insulting the child and the people around. These are clearly arrogant individuals. Also, they're proud of their wealth and status. The founder of the orphanage, the retired old man, quietly looks at them and says, "Leave." He does not say anything else. He repeats it once again with a stern voice, "Leave." And the effect is so much more than anything else he could have said or done. They understand they overstepped and they leave. It was nicely captured. And guess who played the role of the founder? That's right, Amitabh Bachchan. That man's voice has the depth and poise that can relay a message so subtly yet sternly. There is not always a need to cuss or yell to get your point across. It is more effective when you respect and realize the power of words. Since the wounds caused by words are not seen, the effects are not immediate, we tend to always underestimate them. In relationships, everything may be forgiven, but words and how they made us feel are never forgotten. It is sad to see spouses being so verbally abusive to each other. I have heard way too many real-life experiences and it saddens me. It is all right to disagree, to get angry, to even despise someone for some time, but do not use words to hurt someone. These words can cut through the soul, and the soul can carry these wounds through lifetimes. When you hurt someone so deep, that affects your soul too, and you will have that much more baggage to sort out before you leave this earth. You may or may not believe in curses, but every country has stories, folk tales, epics, and mythological tales mentioning curses and how they affect us. So what exactly is a curse? When I thought about it, my definition is when you hurt someone so deeply that their soul is hurt, the pain blinds the person, he or she curses some ill fate on you so that you feel the hurt they feel. Not entirely as revenge. It is deeper than that. Revenge is planned and plotted and it feeds the ego. A curse is the spur of the moment words that come from within. These are not calculated and not controlled. The power in a curse is immense because of just this. It comes from deep within, from the source energy, from the inner soul. Does that mean it is justified? I do not have an answer for this. I definitely feel we should avoid cursing someone if we are aware of the deep hurt and if we can prevent it. We must evolve to a state where we do not let anything hurt us so deeply that we need to curse. Does it make the curser right and the cursed to be evil? Not at all. Lord Krishna was cursed by Queen Gandhari at the end of Mahabharata. He had to watch the curse pan out in time. One must not give up righteous action for fear of curses, he said, but one must be ready to face the consequences of one's actions. I am sure all of you believe in prayers and blessings, and there are countless examples of the miracles of prayers and blessings, especially from parents. In the book, The Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda, there is a chapter on Luther Burbank, a botanist and a horticulturist, who developed more than 800 strains and varieties of plants in his career. He created the spineless cacti, that is cactus without thorns. He said he would talk to the plants and create a vibration of love. He would tell the plants that there is nothing to fear, they are safe, they don't need thorns to protect themselves. Gradually, he said, a thornless variety emerged. Swami Paramahansa Yogananda called Luther Burbank his American saint. I remember when I was little, we had many potted plants, roses and other flowering plants on our terrace. My mother recalls I would talk to the plants. If 2 roses bloomed in adjacent pots, I would introduce them to each other. It is amazing how much we lose as we are groomed by society. Children in their alpha and theta brainwave stages are so connected to energy. So, how do we then ensure that we respect words? Does it mean we should be serious and speak little and not crack jokes at all? Not at all. Comedy is required in life to lighten things and laugh out loud. We need to be cognizant that we do not intentionally hurt someone in the name of entertainment. The concept of roasting, I find it just cruel. I'm not sure who invented it and why it is required for a good laugh. We all have been desensitized to insults wrapped up and served as roasts. Some of the roasts are so dehumanizing, I do not understand how society can accept them. It is whether we are too sensitive to teasing or too tough that nothing bothers us. It is not about individual outlooks. It is whether or not we respect ourselves and other humans enough to understand the fine lines we cross. It is about core values. The question to ask yourself: as a person, am I okay with insulting another human in the name of comedy? Some of the roasts I have seen in the media are ruthless and so demeaning that they cross the limits of respect, all wrapped up under the umbrella of creative expression. You are a human being first, then a member of the society and part of the fabric. Creative expression does not give you a free pass to start tearing up this fabric, and in the process, harming your own soul with the karma created. There are still so many stand-up comedians who can create humor without personally attacking anyone or calling names. I hope you understand that when I say the power of words applies to every aspect of life. When we look at Sanskrit mantras, there are so many studies that show the effect of chanting on our minds. It helps us calm down and focus better. The sound vibrations of chanting go through each cell of the body. Remember again, we are more than 70% water. If any of you have experienced a Tibetan singing bowl, you will understand how powerful sound is on physical effects on our bodies. Mantras also create positive vibrations sent out to the universe and the collective consciousness. There are spiritual organizations, not just within India, but in the US too, that have commissioned Sanskrit Pandits to chant for the collective consciousness. The fire rituals or homas and havans in Hinduism are not just pomp and show. These mantras, when recited in the right meter with the right intention, have the power to spread positivity and help humanity as a whole. Even when dealing with animals, I have observed that patience and loving words can earn their trust more than punishment and scolding. Getting animals to obey without punishment, for them to be able to trust the handler by the voice, tone, and words, play a big role. The species that can teach us patience are birds. Dogs and even big cats can be trained by inducing fear, but not birds. Birds are prey animals and are naturally hyper alert. It is not easy to earn their trust. You cannot hit a bird and make it do your will. They are delicate and hence that will never work. One needs to be patient and persistent and let the bird trust you. Once it does, you can make it do anything. Only kind words, patience, and encouragement will help you there. They do not understand human language, but the intentions, vibrations, body language, tone, they read everything. As an individual, I believe in words, in promises and in curses as well as blessings. No one is perfect, but if we do not try, we will not know. Let us practice silence. Let us observe our words. Let us observe ourselves. For example, for the next 24 hours, make a mental note of what topics you talk and discuss with your friends, family, colleagues throughout the day. Just observe and make a mental note. You will be shocked with the results. When I did this over a year ago, I realized how much I was complaining. I could not recognize this person I had become. I always thought I was optimistic and happy-go-lucky, which truly is who I am, but I couldn't believe how much I complained through that day. I observed this pattern had been developing over time, and immediately I decided I will make changes. I will become conscious of what I speak and try to find solutions for my complaints. This is not an easy task, and even now I have to remind myself to be conscious, but I will get there one day. We are creating our destiny as we live each day, and if that day is filled with complaining, whining, cursing, abusing someone else, what destiny are you creating? We may be leading simple lives, and what we do day in and day out may seem to be insignificant. Yet, we carry the power to correct ourselves, to create teams and work cultures at offices that do not need training on respectful communication. We can raise children that understand the importance of their words, but this can only be done if we lead by example. A child who sees his father abuse his mother every day cannot be expected to suddenly respect women. We have become so used to demanding from governments this and that and all kinds of conveniences. We do not see the huge responsibility we have as citizens of not just this nation but this world. The power our choices have in changing the course of the world. How wonderful will our countries be if we raise children who will be respectful and responsible adults and contributing citizens of this world? You can start right now being conscious of what you speak. Even when the person you're dealing with deserves to be in hell, even then, how you use your power of speech will decide the strength of your character and in turn decide the burdens your soul will carry ahead. If we, as consumers, demand respectful content, the media industry will have to deliver. The last 7 or 8 years, I have watched the stories and the web series get more and more violent, abusive, and the language, it's degrading all in the name of entertainment. And I'm not saying this sitting on a high horse. I have also watched these series and movies. But now when I look back, being healthy is not limited to the food we consume. A lot has to do with the media we consume. Conscious decisions on watching what is good for my mental and emotional state is a priority rather than just to fit into conversations with peers. And it has helped me tremendously. All this ties back with the topic of the power of words. Our subconscious absorbs like a sponge, and we start using words, tones, and attitudes from the media we consume. Have you ever experienced walking out of a movie theater being all pumped up like that action hero you just watched? Like you too had superpowers? In conclusion, words are powerful. What we speak, what we hear, what we repeat, what we normalize, what we impose on our friends and family, and what we select to watch in media, everything sculpts our inner environment and decides our destiny. Do the 24-hour observation of what you discuss and talk most about, and then make a conscious decision for yourself and for the human collective. Let us clean up our speech, not just clean up our physical environment, and watch the changes that happen around us. One person at a time, give birth to an entire revolution. Signing off now, your host Thorvi. Take care, loads of love, and stay safe until next time.